Hey, what's up, friends? How's it going? Hey, today I'm going to open up by talking about how can we talk to our kids so they really hear us and see us. How do we talk to our kids so they really listen? Yesterday I had a really hard thing happen to me. Really hard thing happened to me. I recently launched my new YouTube channel and really happy about that. I hope you check it out. I have long form and short form content on there. And a week from today, I launched my new podcast. The Sean Donahue Show is coming out. Very excited about that. Something really painful happened yesterday. I was in the middle of a private session and I got a text, and it was from my mom. And my mom texted me, and I can see there was a lot going on in the text, a lot of emotion. And I can't really look at my phone while I'm meeting with somebody in a private session. And I can see there's some mean things that she's saying, but I don't have the time to go through and read the whole text. Well, here's the backstory, is that on one of my YouTube videos that I posted, I share a personal story from my childhood. I'm going to actually share the short version of the story right now. The story goes like this, is that when I was about 17 years old, I was living in San Diego with my sister, my mom, and my stepdad. And for various reasons, my mother was kind of going through a hard time and was struggling with some choices that she was making. And that was really affecting me and probably affecting the other two too. So we decided to call a family meeting because we wanted to talk to our mom about what we were feeling and share our feelings and connect with her. And, my mom was making a lot of great choices that time. She was doing the best she could to love us and to care for us. And she did so many wonderful, lovely, motherly, wonderful things. Happy to have her for a mom. But we sat down to want to talk to her, confront her, to talk about some of these choices. And the meeting did not go well. And all I remember, I don't have the exact details because I was a teenager, is that she said some mean things to us and she walked out of the house. And that was a very painful memory for me because I just felt like even worse. I felt kind of like abandoned. I felt unheard. I felt like starting to feel like, uncared for, kind of feel powerless. Like, oh my gosh, like can't even get through to her. And it was a painful memory for me. I don't know what my mom was going through at that time. I don't know why she acted the way she did. I love my mother to this day. So my mom watched this video and I told this story on a YouTube. Now, can you imagine if one day you're sitting there minding your own business and your child says, hey, I have a new YouTube channel. And then you go on YouTube and it's your own child telling a painful story about you from your past that doesn't make you look good, or tells about a dark story in yours. Like, that would be hard for anybody, right? You'd be like, what the heck, kid? Like, why are you posting this? I have compassion for what my mom was saying. And so my mom was texting me because she was saying some pretty strong things about how she wanted me to take the video down. And she said some other really mean things in the text, and some other really appropriate things in the text. And so I have been communicating with my mom on this topic. And so as of right now, I have the video up. It's still up. And I actually just did, again, something my mom did not want me to do. So it's just very confusing for me because I want to be able to tell my own stories about my life, my childhood, my growing up family experience, because I'm in this space. I want to tell people, hey, like, this is what it was like for me. This is how it affected me. This is like a true story. But am I supposed to wait until like my parents are dead until I tell stories from my childhood? So like I'm struggling in my life right now with boundaries, because like on one hand, I have 3 daughters and a wife, and they don't want me telling our private personal family stories on camera. And I have people that watch me on these cameras. So I want to honor that boundary. I want to be A+, 100%, not 99.9%. I want to be perfect and not dishonoring or telling private personal stories or breaking my family's boundaries with my 3 daughters and my wife. But it's my own mother, and I don't know if I have those same boundaries, right? I like, am I muted? Am I not allowed to say these things? So it's just confusing. So I'm really thinking about it, and I really want to figure out what to do about it, because it's confusing. Like, people ask me, well, what was your childhood like? Like, what was it like? What kind of parent was your dad growing up? How did you handle it when your parents were divorced? When you, like, am I supposed to just make up lies or just like tell the G version story of a R-rated story, right? Which would not be real. Today, I want to talk to you about how to talk to your kids so they really hear you and they really see you. And I want to give you 7 tips. And the first tip and tool that I want to tell you is a tool called humility. Humility and vulnerability. When you were listening to this true story, everything about that version of that story is absolutely true. Did you enjoy that story? Did you enjoy listening to it? Did you see my pain and my confusion? Did you feel drawn to me in that story? If you're here on this with me because you're a member of the Parents Club, then use the group chat and talk to me real quick. Tell me what you think about that story and answer my question. Did you feel like kind of drawn, or did that story bring up anything inside of you, your own vulnerability or your own? Use the group chat, and please do me a favor and just type some things down. I'll maybe read 1 or 2 of them. So humility draws people to people. So in our goal to really connect our hearts, with our kids' hearts, one of the first things to think about, because I got 7 tips, so I'll go 7 down to number 1. The number 1, I think, is the number 1 thing to do. 7 is a great thing, but it's number 7 is humility. And this could be through just storytelling, or from sharing like your heart, or just even like showing on apologies. I've done other videos on how to excel at apologies and making amends in the art of reconciliation. Because keep in mind, remember, I love to say this, our kids are never going to take classes in the most important subjects in life. They're never going to take class on how to be vulnerable, who to be vulnerable with, and who not to be vulnerable. How to be vulnerable in a way that respects people's boundaries, even your own family's boundaries. How to be vulnerable in a way that's authentic to you. And so our kids are never going to take a class in humility. So I shared before that one of the most underrated books I've ever read that no one talks about is not the 5 love languages, which I'll refer to in a minute, but the 5 love languages of an apology. And the author, Gary Chapman, says, hey, you really want to connect with someone's heart when you apologize, show humility to them. Here's how to show humility. 1, express regret. I'm sorry, 2, I'm sorry would be an example of expressing regret. 2 would be accepting responsibility. One way you can accept responsibility is you can say, hey, I was wrong. Right now, in my situation I'm having with my mom, I don't feel like I'm being wrong, but maybe I am wrong. I could be wrong, and I want to honor your mother and father. I want to honor her, but I also want to be real with my own heart and my own authenticity. And I don't want to feel like I have family members telling me what I can't say and what not to say. Like, if you think about how many great books have you read, autobiographic books or books from people tell stories about themselves. Like, this must be a common problem with like people who are like have an influence in the world. Like, it must be a really, really common struggle in families. There must be a lot of really mean texts that have been sent to a lot of authors in the world, a lot of podcasters. How dare you talk about me like that? How dare you tell that story? You can't tell that story. It's like, well, why not? I was there, I was 21 when it happened. It's my story. Well, no, it's not just your story. I was there too. And you're telling it from your point of view. That's not fair. Well, I don't know what is fair then, but that's how I remember it, right? So it's so super confusing. Tracy is saying in the group text, hey, it's made me think about what my kids may think or say about me in 10 to 20 years from now regarding my yelling and my labeling, right? So storytelling it affects us in very profound and mysterious ways. Can I get an amen on that? So number 3 of humility is making restitution. How can I make this up to you? That's what that would sound like. How can I make things right? What can I do to help you feel better? Number 4 is genuinely repenting, which is really changing, saying, I am setting a standard right now. I refuse to do that again. I'm really going to change. 180, change, repenting. And number 4 would be asking forgiveness. Will you please forgive me? Okay, number 6 tool on how to really talk to your kids so they hear you and see you is this parenting tool that I love. I call it shared confusion. I actually have been modeling some of these tools for you here today to try to help you, try to bless you. Like, I don't know what to do. So you can say this to your son or daughter, I don't know what to do here. And this is confusing for me. Part of me wants to say this and part of me wants to do that. I don't really know what to do. Right, this is confusing. I don't want this to come between us. I don't want a screen to come between us. Right, I don't know what to do. You want to eat this food and you want to eat this way and I don't want you to. And I don't want to punish you or yell, but I don't want to sit back. It's just very, very confusing. Sharing confusion is like similar to shared problem solving, but it's different. Shared problem solving means you have somebody who's engaged with you and wants to help you solve a problem. Versus shared confusion is, hey, you're talking. So what we're really focusing on here is communication skills on how to be excellent speakers, to speak in a way so our kids really hear our heart. So number 7 is humility. Number 6 is shared confusion. And number 5 is this amazing thing called a timeout. Timeouts. Timeouts. If you are struggling with anger, if you're struggling with lashing out, harsh words, if you're struggling with avoidance, guys, you've got to fall in love with the timeout. A timeout is for you to go percolate like a good coffee. And you take a second, take a minute, take 20 minutes. Science has shown us that it takes the human body 20 minutes to physiologically calm itself down. And it takes men longer to calm down than women. So for me, in my relationship here with Danielle, we like to say that 20 minutes is the max timeout that we'll take. But but sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes somebody needs more than 20 minutes. Sometimes they need longer. And it's just really important that the person keeps communicating, hey, I'm still on a timeout. Are you still on a timeout? Okay. And that could go on. And hopefully not for too long because it's really hard when someone takes a timeout, but it's really good. So you want to see your communication excel, become better at taking timeouts. And if you're lashing out, you're like, why did I say this? What do I need to do? You've got to improve your timeouts. Don't be one of those people that sucks at timeouts, right? Isn't that interesting? Because your kids are never going to take a class on the art of timeouts. And you suck at timeouts because no one ever modeled that for you, probably. Your parents didn't model healthy timeouts for you. All right, and somebody else, let me see if I can read this. In the group chat, Stacy is sharing, I would have used it as an opportunity to talk to my adult child and repair and heal. Right. So you would have, in a perfect world, you would have seen that YouTube, and you claim that you would call me up and say, hey, I want to heal, I want to repair. Yes, that would be wonderful if the text what I got from my mom were saying, hey, I love you, I know I really hurt you, and I was pretty surprised that you shared that publicly, but I want to talk about this. Right? That's not the text that I got, but I don't blame her. I have compassion for her. I would be so hurt if I watched on YouTube one day and one of my children were telling a personal private story that I thought was private. And Stacy's sharing, and I apologize. I would say this is what she was saying. And I would apologize. I'm going to try to pretend like this is actually you talking to me. And I would apologize for what my child went through when I didn't realize. But I would have done a lot of personal work. I would have been able to take criticism and a commitment to authenticity and accountability and the commitment to not taking this on. Oh, that's really big. Not taking this on. Like, I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad mom. I'm not a bad woman. I just, this is not easy work you're talking about, right? This is why Stacy's in the life coaching industry, because she's good at helping people to do this. And many people can't do that yet or process the shame. This is very deep. Oh, this is very deep, Stacy. I can tell why you took time to write this, and that I've always complimented your writing. I wouldn't want to be persecuted, but I would not want to invalidate someone's experience, and let the story be told and look to get closer by connecting over it and help the person to get closure if possible. I do that in practice. I do that too. Gosh, that was deep. I got to take a moment here. Yeah. Somebody just recently, I think it was even yesterday, told me that, it was just yesterday. It was one of my employees. I shared this story with him because it was just happening like right afterwards. And I was like, I don't know what to do, man. His name is Sean Potts. And he's like, I actually made me think of my own story. I actually had to sit down with my dad and I shared with him some things that hurt me when we were kids. I mean, he's like a 45-year-old man now, and my dad responded so well to it. So responsive and loving. It made so much. And I felt happy for him. But I mean, I guess I've accepted that when I do this stuff with my parents. It sometimes doesn't go that well. So so tool number 5 would be a timeout. Tool number 4, if we're gonna go through these kind of fast here, is you've heard of the 5 love languages, but Dr. John Gottman and his HIT team developed something that I found even better. It's called a love map. A love map. Now, love languages are great, totally legit, believe in them. But here is an example of a love map. I know that when I load the dishwasher, if I put the bowls facing up, that's gonna bother some people in this house because they want the bowls down so that the water can hit. And if I put the bowls down, I'm really doing something to build love and harmony in the home. Everyone in this house knows that I love pickles. So if you really wanna reach my heart, bring me home some pickles. I'm just into pickles. And it really connects with me. You know, you're not gonna hear about pickles in the 5 love languages, right? But you know what you're also not gonna hear about is it really hits my heart in a positive way when my wife goes out to coffee. And she asked me, she just did yesterday, I love her so much. She says, hey, we're going out to coffee. And I can't go out to coffee because I have to work in here in my home office. So she asked, can I pick you up something? Oh my gosh. I said no because I wasn't in the mood for coffee or any more caffeine. So I'm trying to cut down on all that stuff. But it made me feel so good. So that's not a 5 love language. Asking somebody to pick up coffee, or that's not quality time. That's not words of affirmation. It just really was a deposit in my love bank. And asking, another thing that feels really good for me is I don't really want my puppy jumping on my dining room table or area at all. I hate it. I want to teach that freaking dog to stay away from where we eat. And so when family members tell the dog to get away, or when they say, hey, get away, puppy, or dog doesn't want there, I feel so loved. I feel so respected because they care less about that dog being around the dining room table than I do. But so how do we get to talk to our kids is listen and discover their love map, not just their love language, but what are the little things that you can do to really reach their heart? The little ways you can show love. Okay, number 3 is something that I actually just modeled for you. I teach about this a lot. How can we talk to our kids so they really hear us? Is through storytelling. Did you like that story that I told? Do you judge me for it? Do you think I'm a bad son? Honestly, I'm scared to ask you your opinion because I'm afraid of what you're gonna say. I'm being real right now. I'm really afraid you're gonna judge me and think I really crossed the line. It's scary. And I just told you, because stories they draw people in. So you really want to, like I said this before in other videos, you really want to teach your kids about not doing drugs. You got to open your heart and you got to tell them stories about your painful experience with drugs, or your own upbringing, or your child's or your brother's experience with drugs. You tell them what it was like dating somebody who did drugs, or having a friend or someone you loved who got addicted to drugs. Open your heart and tell appropriate stories, age appropriate, in appropriate times. I mean, it is such a great way to get your kids ready to go to their first concert alone with no parents. Don't tell them to be safe. You tell them to be brave, and you tell them a story, what it was like for you when you went for your first concerts. You tell them what it was like for you, and the pains and the joys and the adventure and the adrenaline. I mean, gosh, I get so many stories going through my head right now that I want to tell you, but I'm going to stay focused. Now, number 2 is a word I'm really into. How do we talk to our kids so they really hear us? Here's a great word. The word is tenderness. Tender. No, I'm not talking about chicken tenders. even though those are solid. I mean, who doesn't like a nice solid, good chicken tender? But that's like the main way we use that word nowadays. Is you hear the word tender, you think of chicken for some stupid reason. But let's stop that. Let's make tender like a new word. Let's make tender a word that we use in our vocabulary sometimes. Let's create a culture of tenderness. There's even the song, isn't there? Use the group chat and tell me. Tenderness. No, how's it go? I'm really bad at singing. There's like a song about tenderness. But tenderness is a manifestation of your vulnerability. It's a way of speaking with gentleness. I filmed a video just yesterday about one of the ways you thrive with a child who's 7 and under. One of the first things that came to my mind is tenderness. These kids bring out so much harshness in us. They drive us nuts as little kids. They they tempt us so much. It's like we feel like that's the only thing they can listen to sometimes. And but the opposite of that is tenderness, gentleness. And how do we do that? Well, you gotta really take care of your mind and do a lot of timeouts when it comes to tenderness. And here's the number one thing. For those of you who've been members of the Parents Club, this is old news for you. You already know what I'm about to say. What is the number one thing? Pop quiz. What is the number one thing you can do to talk to your kids so they really hear you and they see you? Easy, easy. Yes, the answer, as Chris is saying, it's a heart talk. A heart talk. If you don't know what a heart talk is, come and join my website. Come, let me coach you. Let me show you what a heart talk is. Here's some great words of, I can teach you about 25 tools to have a great heart talk. For if you're just beginning heart talks, here's some great 6 words to share when you're speaking in a heart talk, because a heart talk consists of listening and speaking. Here's 6 really inviting words that I have found over 24 years of working with your sons and daughters. Yes, the song is Tender Love, but how does it go? Maybe someone can sing it. Does anyone know how to sing a little bit, or at least can sing the lyrics to Tender Love? And that's a great way we're gonna end this opening teaching. So here's the 6 words, and then please, I'm begging you, please show your face. I'm begging you, please sing Tender Love, or play Tender Love on your phone and then sing along to it, like sing along style. Please, can I get a volunteer? No, I don't know how to sing, and I don't know the words to Tender Love. But you know a song I'm really into? You know, it's such a great underrated song is, in this life, there'll be hardness and pain. I don't know if I can face it again. Na-na-na-na, trying so hard. Here this only life. Ready for the chorus? I don't know what love is. Then I want you to show me. Sing with me. Oh, someone sang along with me. That's just a great song. I mean, if that song doesn't reach your heart, then you got heart problems. That's just a great song. So 6 heart talk words. You share this with your kids in 8 appropriate ways in times. I feel sad. I feel hurt. This hurt my feelings. I feel confused. Let's say shared confusion. I feel disconnected. And then one of my favorite words of all time, I feel uncomfortable with this. So inviting. Hey, so do I get a volunteer? Thank you for singing that with me, with that Tracy or who it was. I don't know who it was. Can someone sing the chorus of Tender Love? Please, I'm begging you. Can I get a volunteer? Sing it real loud. Come on, see if anyone does it. I'm gonna be quiet to see if we have anybody. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And this. Chris is sewing hell to the no. Oh, Tracy, are you ready?
Ready.
We got a volunteer. Okay.
Holding you close to me, baby, I surrender. Tender love you give it to me. There you go.
Yes! It was hard to hear. I admit it was hard to hear, but we did it, and I got some of it. Yes. Thank you guys for letting me share that with you. tell me, let me take a breath. I'd love to hear from you. What comes up for you as you hear me talk about these 7 principles and tools to really get your kids' heart? What do you think about them? Do you like them? Do you agree, disagree? Come on, open up and talk to me. I'd love to hear from you.